Nicola Coughlan as Penelope Bridgerton, nee Featherington in the Bridgerton series / book. Penelope Featherington is a character from the Bridgerton series, both in the novels by Julia Quinn and the popular Netflix adaptation. She's known for her intelligence, wit, and often overlooked presence in the social scene, until her secret identity as the mysterious gossip writer Lady Whistledown is revealed. In the series, Penelope is portrayed by actress Nicola Coughlan. Her storyline becomes more prominent in later seasons, especially regarding her friendship with Eloise Bridgerton and her feelings for Colin Bridgerton. Here's a comparison of Penelope Featherington's character development in the Bridgerton books versus the Netflix series. In the books, Julia Quinn series, Penelope is introduced early as a wallflower, often overshadowed by her more glamorous Featherington sisters. She is clever, kind, and painfully aware of her place in society. Her secret identity as Lady Whistledown is a major mystery throughout the earlier books and is only revealed in Book 4, Romancing Mr. Bridgerton. That book centers on her romance with Colin Bridgerton, who comes to see her in a new light as they reconnect. Their relationship evolves from longtime friends to lovers. Penelope becomes more confident and empowered after her identity is revealed. In the Netflix series, portrayed by Nicola Coughlan, Penelope's inner life is given more screen time from the start. Her role as Lady Whistledown is revealed to the audience much earlier, season 1 finale, creating dramatic tension as she balances her dual life. The show expands her conflict with Eloise Bridgerton, who is also searching for Whistledown. Her feelings for Colin are more overt and sustained over multiple seasons, creating a slow burn dynamic. The show adds more modern nuance to her motivations, including commentary on power, voice, and invisibility in society. In both versions, Penelope has one of the richest character arcs, evolving from an overlooked young woman into someone who claims her voice and place in the world. Penelope Featherington and Colin Bridgerton's romance is a slow-burn love story from Julia Quinn's Bridgerton book series, specifically Book 4, Romancing Mr. Bridgerton. Here's a summary of their romance. Penelope has been in love with Colin Bridgerton since she was a teenager. Shy, often overlooked, and known more for her awkwardness than beauty, she is considered a spinster by society. Meanwhile, Colin is charming, adventurous, and adored by the ton, unaware of Penelope's feelings. Their turning point. Years of friendship evolve when Colin returns from his travels abroad and starts seeing Penelope in a new light. He notices her wit, her intelligence, and how she truly understands him, especially his desire to be more than just a charming Bridgerton. The big reveal. Penelope harbors a secret identity. She is the infamous gossip columnist, Lady Whistledown. When Colin discovers the truth, he is shocked and initially hurt, but ultimately impressed by her cleverness and independence. Their romance. As their feelings deepen, Colin realizes he loves Penelope for who she is, not just a quiet wallflower, but a strong, sharp woman who challenges and supports him. Their relationship grows into a passionate and trusting bond, culminating in marriage. Title: From Shadows to Sunlight. Penelope Featherington had always been the girl in the background, watching, waiting, loving silently. For over a decade, she'd nurtured an affection for Colin Bridgerton, her closest friend, and the one man who never truly saw her. Colin, ever cheerful and restless, saw Penelope as dependable, kind, and a little too familiar. She was the witty companion who always made him laugh, the steady presence he could count on, but not someone he considered in a romantic light, until everything shifted. Upon returning from another lengthy journey, Colin began to notice changes in Penelope. Her confidence had grown. Her humor was sharper, her eyes brighter. For the first time, he truly saw her, not as the quiet Featherington girl, but as a woman with secrets, fire, and an intelligence that rivaled his own. The shift was unsettling. Why did her opinion suddenly matter so much? Why did her laughter stay with him longer than the applause he received in ballrooms? The turning point came with the shocking revelation that Penelope was Lady Whistledown, the mysterious and powerful voice behind London's most scandalous gossip. Colin felt betrayed at first, but then came awe. Penelope had lived a hidden life right beside him, brilliant, brave, and completely underestimated by everyone, including him. Jealousy stirred when he saw other men begin to notice her. Colin realized his feelings were no longer friendly. They were possessive, protective, and deeply romantic. In a candlelit drawing room, their walls finally crumbled. Colin confessed, "You were always right in front of me, Penelope, and I was too blind to see what a fool I've been." Penelope smiled through tears. "You never saw me before, but I've always seen you." Their love wasn't sudden. It was a bloom that took years, weathered storms, and finally opened under the warmth of truth and trust. Would you like me to turn this into a short story or add a scene from their perspective? Title: More Than Words. Scene: Bridgerton House Library, late evening. Penelope Featherington stood alone in the Bridgerton library, her fingers grazing the spine of a worn travel journal. It was Colin's, of course, filled with tales of Greece and Italy, of laughter and loneliness written between the lines. She smiled softly, unaware she wasn't alone. Colin stepped into the room, pausing at the door when he saw her. She was bathed in warm firelight, a strand of hair falling across her cheek as she read. She looked peaceful, beautiful in a way he hadn't allowed himself to see before. "You always liked my journals," he said quietly. Penelope jumped, then laughed. "They make for better company than most men I know." Colin chuckled, walking in. "That's a high compliment, considering you spent years tolerating me." "You were tolerable," she teased. "At best." A silence fell, comfortable but charged. Penelope set the journal down and turned to him. His expression was unfamiliar, more intense than usual. Searching. "Why didn't you ever tell me?" he asked, voice lower now. "That you were Lady Whistledown?" Her breath caught. "Because you wouldn't have looked at me the way you are now." Colin stepped closer, the space between them shrinking like a tide pulling in. "And how am I looking at you?" "Like I matter," she whispered. "You do," he said instantly. "You always have. I just didn't see it. Or maybe I was afraid to." Penelope's voice trembled. "Of what?" "Of changing. Of losing you. Of realizing that the one person who's always known me best is also the one I can't imagine living without." She blinked rapidly, tears threatening. "And you mean that?" He took her hand gently. "Penelope Featherington, I have traveled half the world and never found a place that felt more like home than standing beside you." And then, as if all the years of silence and glances and half-spoken hopes led to this one perfect moment, he kissed her, soft, reverent, real. Penelope Featherington and Eloise Bridgerton share one of the most sincere and emotionally rich friendships in Bridgerton. Their bond begins in childhood and blossoms into a deep companionship rooted in wit, rebellion, and mutual understanding. Both girls feel out of place in their social world, Penelope for being overlooked and underestimated, and Eloise for resisting traditional expectations of marriage and femininity. Their friendship thrives on long walks, sarcastic commentary, and shared disdain for societal norms. Eloise brings boldness and curiosity. Penelope, quiet intelligence and insight. Together they provide each other with the space to be seen and heard in ways no one else offers them. However, the friendship is tested when Penelope's secret identity as Lady Whistledown is revealed. Eloise feels betrayed, not just by the lies, but by the fact that her closest friend had lived a double life, writing the very gossip Eloise had condemned. Despite the pain and distance this causes, their bond endures. Forgiveness comes slowly but meaningfully, as both women come to understand each other more deeply. Their relationship is not perfect, but it's authentic, defined by growth, confrontation, and ultimately, unconditional love. They evolve from girls whispering secrets to women making space for each other's truths. A timeline of Penelope and Eloise's friendship throughout the Bridgerton series, showing how their relationship grows, shifts, and deepens over time. Early friendship, childhood, teenage years. Penelope and Eloise meet. From the start, Penelope is somewhat of an outsider among the other young women of the ton, but Eloise immediately sees beyond the surface. Eloise, full of rebellion and outspoken independence, connects with Penelope, who is more introspective and observant. They quickly become close, sharing secrets and adventures that they don't feel they can have with others. Mutual understanding. While Penelope is often overlooked for her quiet demeanor, Eloise's loud, out-of-the-box thinking often makes her the odd one out. They become each other's safe space, unafraid to speak their minds. Eloise appreciates Penelope's sharp mind and gentle nature, while Penelope admires Eloise's courage to defy expectations. Adulthood and Whistledown reveal early books. Penelope's growing feelings for Colin. As the years go on, Penelope's unspoken love for Colin Bridgerton becomes a central part of her inner world. Eloise, despite her own flirtations and thoughts about marriage, doesn't fully understand the complexities of Penelope's heart. But she remains supportive and fiercely loyal, even if she's unaware of Penelope's deeper emotions. Eloise's wild ideas. Eloise's rebellion intensifies as she rejects marriage proposals and societal expectations, focusing on finding her own path. She confides in Penelope about her desire for freedom and her distaste for the ton's shallow norms. They share a mutual disdain for the pressures placed on women to conform, which only strengthens their bond. The Whistledown Revelation. Book 4, Romancing Mr. Bridgerton. The shock of Lady Whistledown. When Eloise discovers that Penelope is, in fact, the notorious gossip columnist Lady Whistledown, the revelation shocks her to her core. She feels betrayed, not because of the gossip itself, but because Penelope had hidden such a significant part of her life for so long. Penelope had been a close confidant, and Eloise feels hurt that her friend never confided in her. Strained friendship. Eloise's initial reaction is one of anger and disappointment. She questions why Penelope had kept secret for so long, especially when they had shared everything else. This creates a brief rift between them, with Eloise feeling deceived and Penelope regretting her decision to hide her identity. Reconciliation. Later books. Slow forgiveness. Over time, Eloise begins to understand Penelope's motivations and the struggles she faced in keeping her secret. Penelope had felt isolated and insecure, and becoming Lady Whistledown was one of the few ways she could gain power and independence. Eloise, ever empathetic, starts to realize that Penelope had never meant to hurt her. She simply had to protect herself in a world that often ignored her. Mutual growth. As both women continue to grow, Eloise becomes more open to the complexities of Penelope's life. She sees that her friend isn't just the quiet girl she once knew. She's a woman with ambition, courage, and a deep desire for love and belonging. Penelope, in turn, learns to trust Eloise again, accepting that even though they may not always understand each other, their bond is unbreakable. Rebuilding their trust. By the time of Eloise's own romantic journey, their friendship has come full circle. Penelope's honesty and vulnerability in admitting her mistakes help Eloise open up more to the idea of love and companionship. They both realize that true friendship requires not only honesty, but also patience and understanding. The deepening of their friendship, later books and beyond. Eloise's marriage and Penelope's role. As Eloise eventually marries and Penelope finds love, their friendship continues to flourish. They no longer need to rely on their shared rebellion to find meaning. They can both support each other in their personal journeys of love, family, and identity. Penelope and Eloise equals. By the time they are both in stable and happy relationships, they've become equals in every sense. Penelope no longer hides behind the walls she built for herself, and Eloise, though still spirited and independent, comes to value the quiet, steadfast love Penelope has always offered her. They're no longer just two girls with a shared understanding of being outliers. They're women who know what it means to love, forgive, and grow. Penelope Featherington. Penelope is introspective, loyal, and often underappreciated by those around her. Her friendship with Eloise is crucial because it's one of the few relationships where she's seen for her true self. While she is quiet and observant, Penelope's sharp wit and intelligence make her an invaluable friend. She struggles with self-doubt, but Eloise's unyielding support helps her come into her own as a woman and a writer. Penelope's evolution from a shy girl to a woman capable of standing up for herself is largely influenced by her relationship with Eloise. Eloise Bridgerton. Eloise is outspoken, curious, and willing to defy societal norms. She's unafraid to speak her mind and reject the traditional expectations of marriage and womanhood. Her friendship with Penelope is one of the few relationships that anchors her, offering her a sounding board and a deep connection that doesn't demand her to conform. Eloise's impulsive nature often contrasts with Penelope's more cautious demeanor, but their shared spirit of rebellion binds them. Over time, Eloise learns to appreciate the quiet strength that Penelope offers, and she grows as a person, learning the importance of trust, vulnerability, and emotional depth. Penelope and Eloise's friendship is a testament to how relationships evolve over time, surviving conflict, distance, and misunderstanding. They represent the power of loyalty, understanding, and growth, each woman helping the other navigate the complex world they inhabit, while never asking the other to change who they are at their core.